Hello, and I would like to welcome you back to the channel. Especially thank you very much to the sponsors of this channel, because it is thanks to you that this channel is even still being produced. I truly appreciate your vote of confidence. So, let's talk a little bit about the book that actually is not on the sister channel yet. So, I'm sure that it will end up there, and there will be a link connected with this one, and there is a link below to look for the book. This is one of my favorite historical books. It is written by the late Frank Fox, who was probably the top specialist on the art of the Willem van de Velde's, father and son, and also one of the top specialists on 17th century, specifically the Restoration Navy, although his interests included also the Dutch Navy. I have had the pleasure of corresponding with Mr. Fox. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to meet him face to face, though we often spoke, especially when we found the wreck that we believe to be Kroum, one of the ships that participated actually in this battle. The 4 days battle, of course, is known by all ship enthusiasts or maritime history enthusiasts of the 17th century. It was the largest and longest naval battle fought under sail ever. More than 200 ships fought over 4 days, and it was a severe drubbing for the Royal Navy. It was fought, the first part of the battle, the first 2 days were fought under the command of the Duke of Albemarle, ex-George Monk. Well, ex-General Monk is what I meant. He's always been presented, the ex-parliamentarian naval officers are always represented as the good ones, the capable ones, but these damned royalists, when they came, that is what spoiled the Navy. Of course, if you look carefully at what really happened, you see that every single one of the disasters of the Second Anglo-Dutch War was always when a parliamentarian was in command, including the disaster of the 4 days battle. The first 2 days, Albemarle was commanding the fleet. He attacked the superior Dutch fleet with his inferior squadron. It's a long story how it came about. This is described in great detail here, how the blunder of dividing the English fleet happened. And Monk had claimed that even with 50 ships left to him, he can defeat the Dutch no matter how many ships they have. Braggadocio par excellence. When push came to pull, unlike Admiral Vernon, Monk was not able to pull it off, and the Dutch drubbed him mercilessly. By the 3rd day, not only was the battle lost, but the entire remains of the Royal Navy were in danger of being destroyed. Luckily for the English, lo and behold, over the horizon, in the nick of times, in the best traditions of Western movies of the 1960s, 50s and 60s, here arrived the missing squadron of Prince Rupert. And while Rupert was unable to overturn the results of the battle, he certainly was able to save the rest of the Royal Navy from defeat. Saved it and allowed it to fight another day. So this is one of yet another of the great achievements of the great prince, this time as a general at sea. It is a very interesting book because it goes through a minute study of the tactics, of the tactical developments, day by day, hour by hour. It is brilliant. It is an example of what a tactical history should be of the war. It is the equivalent of the general staff histories that were published after the early 20th century wars. Analytical study in the best traditions of Clausewitz and Mahan, etc. So I can't imagine possibility of improvement on this style, in this approach. Unfortunately, in our politically correct days, those in power had decided that such mundane things like facts should not be taught to students. They're irrelevant. Okay, I will leave it at this. But for anyone who is interested in this period and in warfare in the 17th century, which is so much more interesting, exciting, dramatic, and keeping you on the edge of your chair than anything in the Napoleonic period, I strongly recommend the book. The book also is beautifully illustrated with contemporary Dutch, many of them Willem van de Velde drawings. So I'm sure that the sister channel will do an infinitely more detailed page through it. I am only giving you an indication of many of the Van de Velde drawings that are included, although this is actually a Barwell and his logbooks. Here are the tactical developments in this. Although the book is detailed, specifically is dedicated to the 4 days battle, fought from 1st through 4th of June, easy to remember, 1666. It does include also the first of the large naval actions, the 1665 campaign, and it goes through the disasters for the Dutch Battle of Lowestoft, goes through the 4 days battle, and addresses also the St. James fight, a 2-day battle in which the results of the first battle, it was fought only a month after the heavy defeat the Royal Navy had suffered, well, a little over a month and a half actually, but it reversed completely. The English won heavily. And what was the difference between the two battles? In the second battle, Prince Rupert was present from the very beginning. In the first battle, he was not. So that is why the Battle of St. James was actually a success. Continuing the story, there was a rumor that the great English historian, who is currently a chairman of the Society for Nautical Research, David Davis, one of the two or three or few greatest currently living active historians, certainly one of the best in this, specifically in the Restoration Navy, was working on putting a similar book on the Battle of the Texel in 1673. Unfortunately, I do not know if that book is still in progress and if, when would it ever be finished. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I heartily recommend this book to you. The book was reissued a few years ago in a much smaller format than this one, which is infinitely more convenient to read, but you lose some of the size of the reproductions, which I think came under the title simply The 4 Days Battle by Fox. It is exactly the same book, it just is a little bit cheaper and probably more easily accessible nowadays. Whichever of the two books you can lay your hands on, grab it and run. With this, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for watching. Huge thank you to the sponsors of this channel, because they are the ones who make it possible and who make me continue doing it. So, we'll see you next time.